Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we will dive into how to leverage Appwrite with Flutter. Appwrite is an open source backend server designed to simplify building secure and scalable applications. It offers a wide range of backend APIs, making it easier for developers to build mobile and also web applications. Appwrite offers core functionalities such as the authentication for users sign in and sign up using various methods. It also offers the databases for storing and also querying structured data. It has a storage for managing project files and also messaging for sending push notifications, emails, and also SMS, as well as support for functions to enhance app functionality. Yeah, so for a quick start over here, you can see it supports web app and also mobile and native, right? So you can use these frameworks and connect with your app, right, as a backend. And with the native platform, we have the React Native and Flutter. We have Apple and Android, right? So I'll go with Flutter in here. And starting with Flutter, first of all, you need to have your Flutter project created, right? Using Flutter create, then you give the name of your project. So once you have the Flutter app created, you need to create a project on the Appwrite console, right? So you need to head over to the Appwrite console and create a new project. If this is your first time, you need to sign up, right? I already have one project created, so I'll create a new one for this tutorial. So over here, you need to give the project a name, which is going to be Flutter Appwrite. Over here, I want the project ID to be automatically generated, so I'll hit the next button, and you can proceed with the default one selected over here. And there we go, we have our project created. Yeah, so these are the products the Appwrite offers. We have the authentication, the database, the functions, the messaging, and also the storage over here. And getting started over here, you need to choose the platform, which is going to be Flutter in our case over here. So we need to specify the name, which is going to be my Flutter app. You can go with any name, right? And also the package name. So if you're wondering where to get this package name, so in your Flutter project, go within your Android directory. We have the build or Gradle file. The namespace, you can see com.example.flutter.appwrite. And that's the package name, right? So you paste that in. So this is setting up the platform for Android, right? So you proceed. So we need to install the Appwrite dependency as well, right? So you need to proceed with the next button. And over here, we can just build the app and go to the dashboard. There it goes. Over here, you have successfully created the platform for the Android, right? So let's proceed to add the platform for the iOS as well. So I'll add a platform, and it's going to be a Flutter app. And I'm going to choose the iOS and need to give the name of the iOS, which is going to be my Flutter app, same as the Android. And the bundle ID is going to be the same, com.example.flutter.appwrite. Then you can proceed to hit the next button, and that's it, right? So we've added iOS and Android to our platforms over here. Yeah, so once we have successful creation of our project on the Appwrite console, let's proceed with the documentation. So we've already have our Flutter project created. We've also created a project on the Appwrite console, right? So the next step is to install the Appwrite using Flutter pub add. So I'll grab the command in here, and within my Flutter project, I'll pop up the terminal and paste in the command Flutter pub add Appwrite. So to get the latest version, you can get rid of this version and Flutter pub add Appwrite, and I'll get you the latest version of the Appwrite. There we go, we have successful installation of the Appwrite. The next step is to find your project ID in the settings page. Okay, and so this is the console, and below over here you have the settings page. So over here you can get access to your project ID and also the endpoint, right? So this is the main method, and before running the main app, make sure you have a client initialized. So I'll grab this sample code snippet and make sure that before running the main app, you should have everything initialized and configured, right? So we need to import the Appwrite to fix 0, right? So we have our clients initialized, passing in the endpoint which correspond to the endpoint we have at the console, right? So this is the endpoint, and we need to pass in the project ID. So I'll grab the project ID over here and need to pass in the project ID. Once you have that, you can save in the changes. Yeah, so our first thing to do is to work with authentication, where we have the user to sign up and also log in to a page, right? Yeah, so over here, to sign up a user or log in a user, you need to get the user's email, password, and also the name, right? So I'll grab these 3 controllers, and within my home page, I'll paste in, So over here, I'll paste in the controllers where you'll be accepting the email, the password, and also the name, right? And we also need the state of login user, right? Which is going to be of type the user. So let's check whether the user is logged in or not. So let's fix this error, right? So we can import these models from the Appwrite /Appwrite models.dat, and this is going to be as Appwrite, as models. There we go, we have the error fixed. And below over here is the 3 methods for logging the user in, registering the user, and also logging the user out, right? So I'll copy that methods in here. And below the controllers, I'll paste in the methods, right? So we have the login method, the register method, and also the logout method. We are trying to access the account which is not available, right? It's found at the top over here. So we can pass the account to the my app. So you can pass the account to my app, and we need to require that in the constructor of my app, right? So I'll just remove the const over here and add a name parameter. So I'll get rid of this account, and it's going to be required this.account. So below over here, I'll be creating the variable to hold the account. So my app now has access to the account, which you can also pass down to the home page as well. And within this home page, you can pass in the account, and finally pass down to the constructor of my home page, which is going to be required this.account. So once you have that, you can create a variable to hold the account variable. Yeah, so if you don't like this approach, you can just bring in your account where you need the account, which in our case is going to be a home page. So you need not to pass down to my app, then later on pass down to my home page, right? So you can just have access to the account in the home page over here. That's also another alternative. So these are the 3 methods with authentication: logging the user in, registering the user, and also logging the user out, right? So when we are logging the user in, we get the user's email and also the password, right? Where we make use of the account variable, then which has a method of create email password session. And this create email password session requires the email and also the password, right? So once we have successful creation of the user over here, we can get a user using widget.account.getUser. Then we can update the state of the logged in user by setting a state and assigning the user to the logged in user. So we can have the logged in user over here. And in registering the user, we also use widget.account.create. So it takes in a unique ID to identify each user being registered, and also the email over here and the password and the name, which is optional as well. So this is the method in registering a user, right? So account.create, then you need to pass in the ID, right? So id.unique is coming from the Appwrite, which uniquely creates an ID for each user. Then you pass in the email and password and the name as well. So once we have successful creation of the user or registering of the user, we can log the user in by passing in the email and password. And the last functionality is to log out the user, where we delete the session passing the current. So once we pass in the current, it will get us the current user. Then we can update the state of the logged in user to be null. Yeah, that's basically it. So let's proceed to build out the home page over here. Yeah, so over here I'll grab this snippet of code. Then in my project I'll paste that as the body over here. Yep. And I think that's it. All is set. You can run your project with Flutter running, select a browser. Yeah. So basically within the body we are having a column, and this column is having 3 text fields: one for accepting the user's email, the user's password, and the user's name. And below that we have a row where we have 3 buttons: one for logging the user in, one for registering the user, and the last one is used for logging the user out, right? So that's basically it, and calling the appropriate method up accordingly. So let's run and test the app and see how it looks like. There you go. So you have 3 text fields that accept the user's email, password, and also the name, right? So you can see the status of the user at the top over there that says not logged in, right? So let's start by creating or registering a user. So over here I'll enter my email and password and proceed with it. And proceed with the name as well and register a user. So I'm expecting the status of the user to change, right? So once I click on the register button, you can see logged in as Dakwa, right? So we have a user logged in, so we can log the user out and the status will change as well as not logged in. So since we have a user in the database, we can also log the user in as well, right? So let's refresh our console, and at the auth session you can see the newly created user with the information as well, right? So that's basically it for the Appwrite authentication. So in other episode we continue with the database functions, messaging, and also storage. See you in our next tutorial. Until then, stay tuned.